They say the elder son carries the weight of the family on his shoulders. Maybe that's true, because for years I carried everyone else's burden, while my younger brother lived his life freely. I gave up my dreams, my career, even my happiness, only to be betrayed by the very people I loved. But when the time for inheritance came, life had a different plan. And my brother, he got nothing. I grew up in a small American town. My father worked in a factory, and my mother stayed home, raising me and my younger brother, Daniel. Being the elder son meant I was always expected to set an example. When Dad came home tired, it was me who helped him carry his tools inside. When Mom was sick, I cooked dinner while Daniel played video games in his room. I never complained. I thought, this is what big brothers do. When I turned 18, I had dreams of going to college in another state. I wanted to study engineering, maybe even work in a big city. But then life took a cruel turn. One evening, Dad collapsed at work. He had a stroke. Overnight, everything changed. The doctors said he would survive, but he couldn't go back to work. He needed care, therapy, and medicines. Mom couldn't handle it all alone. So I made the biggest decision of my life. I gave up my scholarship and stayed home. My dream of becoming an engineer ended that night. I found a local job at a hardware store. It didn't pay much, but it kept food on the table. Every dollar I earned went toward Dad's medicines and household bills. Meanwhile, Daniel, my younger brother, lived without a care in the world. He went to college in another state, partied with friends, traveled during vacations, and often came home only for holidays. Mom and Dad would pamper him, proud that their younger son was living the life they couldn't. Did they ever notice my sacrifice? Did they ever thank me for staying behind? Not once. I remember one Christmas. Daniel came home with expensive gifts for everyone. Perfume for Mom, a leather wallet for Dad. And me. He handed me a pair of socks and laughed, saying, "You need these more than I do, working in that little store." It cut deep, but I stayed quiet. As the years went by, Dad's health worsened. He needed constant care, and Mom wasn't as strong as she used to be. I practically became his nurse, helping him eat, helping him walk, taking him to appointments. At night, when everyone else slept, I would sit by his bed, watching him breathe, terrified something might happen. Daniel, on the other hand, graduated, found a corporate job, and started earning big. He sent money home occasionally, but mostly he spent it on his own lifestyle. When he visited, he'd complain. "Why do you still live in this old house, brother? You should have built something better by now." I wanted to scream, because I gave up everything for this family while you chased your dreams. But I didn't. I swallowed my anger. Then came the day that broke me. Dad passed away after years of illness. It was the darkest day of my life. I had spent a decade taking care of him, sacrificing everything, and suddenly, he was gone. At the funeral, people came up to Daniel, shaking his hand, saying, "Your father would be proud of you." Not one person noticed me standing in the corner, exhausted, broken, forgotten. After the funeral, Mom sat us down. She said she wanted to discuss the inheritance, the family house, and the little savings Dad had left. I assumed, maybe naively, that she'd acknowledge my sacrifices. That she'd understand who had truly carried the family all these years. But what she said shocked me. She looked at Daniel and said, "You're the younger one, you need more support to build your future. The house will go to you. I froze. I looked at her and whispered, "What about me, Mom? I gave up everything for you and Dad." She replied coldly, "You'll understand. You're strong. You don't need much." That night, I cried for the first time in years. Not because of the inheritance, but because I realized my own family never valued me. I moved out after that. I rented a small apartment and kept working. I had nothing, no house, no savings, no recognition. But life has a strange way of rewarding patience. At the hardware store, I worked hard, learned business tricks, and eventually got promoted to manager. After years, I saved enough to open my own store. It started small, but slowly, it grew into a chain of 3 stores across town. Meanwhile, Daniel wasn't as lucky. He had taken Dad's house, but he also took loans to maintain his flashy lifestyle. He lost his corporate job, started gambling, and eventually went bankrupt. One day, I heard the house, my childhood home, was up for foreclosure. And do you know who bought it?
Me.
I bought the same house my parents had given him. When Daniel found out, he came to me. His once proud face was full of shame. "Brother, please, let me stay in the house. I have nowhere else to go." For a moment, the anger inside me boiled. I remembered every insult, every moment of neglect, every sacrifice no one had acknowledged. But then I looked at him. He wasn't the proud younger brother anymore. He was broken, just like I once was. I took a deep breath and said, "You can stay. But this time, under my roof, you'll learn what responsibility means." For the first time, he lowered his head and said, "Thank you, brother. Now I live in that house again. Not as the forgotten elder son, but as the man who built his life from nothing. Daniel helps me at the stores now. He has changed, more humble, more respectful. Maybe life taught him the lesson I couldn't. And sometimes, when I sit on the porch of that house, I think of my father. I wonder if he's proud of me. All I know is this: sacrifice may be ignored for a while, but it never goes wasted. Life sees everything. And in the end, justice always finds its way. So that was my story, the story of the elder son who gave up everything, but eventually found his justice. If you've ever felt ignored, if your sacrifices were never appreciated, remember this: life has its own way of balancing things. Be patient. Your time will come. If you like this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful family stories.